Hi, I'm Devi Ward, and I am the founder of the Institute of Authentic Tantra Education. And in our last video, I was sharing with you about the Tibetan 5-element Tantric teachings, and we refer to them as the Tibetan 5-element healing practices. In this video, I'm going to share with you how you can use the Tibetan 5-element practices to harness your sexual energy and use it for healing and growth. As we were talking about in the previous video, you can see that each of the elements relates to a different chakra, different energy vortex placed along your central channel, your Sushumna Nadi. And your central channel is really important because that's the core of the life force in your body. And the central channel is where enlightened consciousness resides. None of the 5 root poisons exist in the central channel. It's pure, it's pristine, it's referred to as the great palace of the central channel. So it's a very important place to be able to get your consciousness to be in. Well, here's the thing about the human design. At the moment of orgasm, the moving pranas or winds in your genitals brush that central channel. And we get a glimpse of enlightenment. So I remember actually when a friend of mine told me this, like so many years ago, she told me that every orgasm is a glimpse of enlightenment. And I didn't even know what the word enlightenment meant. And I thought she was crazy, quite frankly. And then fast forward several years later, I heard a Tibetan Buddhist Rinpoche talking about how the moving pranas in the genitals, the downward voiding winds, brush the central channel. And how literally every single human being is hardwired so that orgasm is literally a taste of enlightenment. So if you think of orgasm, if you think of that bliss and that freedom and that pleasure and that joy, that is actually a glimpse of your true nature, of your enlightened awareness. So what if you were able to walk around in that bliss and that joy and that expansiveness all the time? I'd say there'd probably be a lot more happiness and joy and a lot less stress and wars and dysfunction going on this planet. So this is a way that your sexuality, being able to harness your sexual energy and utilize it consciously, can actually have a tremendous impact, not just on you, but on our entire planet. So here's the thing about the 5-element teachings. So those moving pranas in the genitals naturally are designed to brush that central channel. They're getting closer and closer to that central channel the closer and closer you get to orgasm. The 5-element teachings are a way of harnessing that sexual energy, directing it up and through the central channel. And instead of having it spout out the crown of your head and go into outer space, no, what we're going to do instead is we are going to run it. We are going to bring it back down and bring it back up and bring it back down and bring it back up and run it through the central channel several times. Now, what do you think that's going to do? Here's the thing. Your sexual energy is the most potent life force energy on this planet. You create human beings with your sexual energy. We create new bodies. That's amazing. And the intelligence of these little 2 cells coming together and then splitting off and then becoming an infant who then grows up into be a big, huge human being. That is amazing. That's miraculous. And that's the potent energy of your sexuality. It creates life. It's a freaking miracle. So in normal sexual experiences, what are we doing with that sexual energy? Nothing, right? Normal sexual experiences, we just have pleasure, and sometimes that pleasure is awesome, and sometimes that pleasure is not so awesome, but we're not really utilizing that energy. We're not harnessing, we're not directing it for a specific purpose. So the Tibetan 5-element teachings give us a way to harness that sexual energy and direct it through that central channel. And by doing that, we are enriching each of those energy centers along the way. Now, in our previous video, I talked about how if you're able to enrich an energy center, one of those energy centers, that energy then translates out through all your nadis, out through all the channels, and dissolves obstructions, dissolves blocks to bliss. Imagine if you add the most potent energy source on this planet and begin directing it through each of those energy centers. What do you think is going to happen to those blocks? What do you think is going to happen to all those obstacles in your channels? They're going to blow out. They're going to completely dissolve. It's like a tidal wave of energy flowing through your energy body, flowing through your energy system. It's a tremendous amount of energy. And this actually is Tantra. This is actually how to utilize, these are authentic tantric teachings on how to harness sexual energy and utilize it for the purpose of spiritual realization and personal growth and healing on every level, body, mind, spirit, and sex. Now, obviously, that's a tremendous amount of energy, and it takes a while for you to prepare your energy channels to be able to hold that. Otherwise, you'll literally melt. When I first started doing these teachings, I wasn't necessarily prepared, and it was intense. It can kind of blow you out sometimes. So that's why the way we offer these teachings is very layered and very methodical. First, in order to practice the sexual teachings, that's down the road. The first thing that you need to do is learn how to be present and focus. Be present with yourself and focus. Then you need to learn how to actually utilize the 5 element practices non-sexually and develop a relationship with them. Develop a foundation for your meditative focus and your practice, and begin to get accustomed to feeling that energy move inside your body and begin to heal and clear some of those blocks to bliss, some of those obstructions that are in the way. Then, over a period of time, you'll learn how to apply them to your solo sexual practice. And you can begin playing with harnessing that sexual energy and moving it through the central channel. And so we give you a strategy for doing this in a way that's very gentle and and not overwhelming for you. And then eventually, the advanced practices are, how do you do this with a partner? How do you do this with a partner both non-sexually and then in sexual union? Because when you add another to the equation, wow, if you thought doing it by yourself was powerful, when you're doing it with another human being, it's tremendous. Whether that is non-sexually, just running it as a non-sexual yoga, which you can do fully clothed, or you can do it when you're actually in sexual union, so you're actually circulating that elemental energy through each other's central channel. In order to do that, you want to make sure that both partners are very well established in the practices and really are coming to the experience centered with loving kindness, compassion, and the intent to be of benefit and service to each other. So once again, these are teachings rooted in Tantric Buddhism. These are the Tibetan 5 element teachings and how to utilize them for the purpose of harnessing your sexual energy and using it for spiritual realization and personal growth.